Tánaiste, Excellencies, distinguished guests, please be upstanding for the President of Ireland, Michael D. Higgins, and Sabina Higgins, accompanied by our honoured guests, His Majesty King Willem-Alexander and Her Majesty Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. I invite you to be seated. Your Majesties, Tánaiste, distinguished guests, the President of Ireland, Michael D. Higgins.
An gédal sias ferim fércin fólse raibh a bhuirgastí rí agus ban rín and there's in the Netherlands an céad cuairt stoit don tír seo agus dá nó é ferim fércin fólse raibh gach duine ar aine ileog míle buchas asacht tí convélín an ócáid cilúrach seo. Your Majesties, Taoiseach is going to be with us very shortly, is delayed. Ahail She Excellencies, Ministers, distinguished guests. As I have just in Irish extended a very Kate Míle Fáilte, 100,000 welcomes on behalf of the people of Ireland to their Majesties, King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, on this the occasion of their first state visit to Ireland. And I hope that this state visit will rekindle memories of His Majesty's childhood holidays in Sneem, County Kerry. The people of the Netherlands and Ireland have very much in common, and we do share such a wide range of issues, among them for which the Netherlands has been so famous: inclusion, tolerance and respect for human rights, and a strong history of scholarship in a very wide range of disciplines. And then to our outward-looking foreign policy, our human rights emphasis in that foreign policy, economic and trade policies, all facilitate our ties, and then our common European Union membership underpins and supports our very strong bilateral relationship. And our country, Ireland, has been referred to as the land of saints and scholars, which is a great challenge to us. And one of the earliest links, indeed, between our two peoples was a scholar from across the water who studied in a monastery in Ireland in the 7th century before departing for what is now the Netherlands. Willebrord became the first bishop of Utrecht and was later canonized. His legacy is still remembered by historians in Carlo, who travelled to Utrecht just last year to celebrate this connection. And then the Irish language, with which I opened, has been influenced by ancient Dutch, demonstrating the powerful effect of other nations' tongues on the words we use and the fluidity of language. It was recently reported that a new word of Old Dutch had been discovered in an ancient Irish manuscript dated to the 7th century, which is quite remarkable for historians of that language, given that only one other Dutch text survives from that period. And this represents one of the very earliest milestones in the study of the Irish language and the beginning of Celtic linguistics. And it suggests that some early Dutch speakers may have come to Ireland as exchange students to study in our famous monastic schools. Our peoples share a thirst for knowledge and have a great respect for scholars, and that Your Majesty's illustrious predecessor, Stadtholder Willem the Silent, chose to found a university in Leiden during the earliest days of the Dutch Republic is a tangible demonstration of this belief in the importance of education and of providing an environment where critical thinking is welcomed and nurtured. The critical thinking by those first scholars in Leiden started a tradition of asking questions to which perhaps there was as yet no answer. Within a relatively short period, Your Majesty's alma mater provided a forum for leading thinkers from the 17th century right up to the present day. And I'm so delighted that in 2019, this year, many Irish students make the decision to broaden their education through graduate and postgraduate study in Leiden and the other great universities in the Netherlands. And it is fitting that the United European Union programme, which has enabled young people pursuing university studies to live and experience life in other member states, is named after the great Dutch humanist Erasmus. These exchanges and opportunities have offered the young people of our union, and many Irish amongst them, the chance to explore cities, cultures, and identities in contemporary lives. Programmes such as the Joint Masters in Food Science, run between universities in France, Ireland, Sweden and the Netherlands, and they are striking demonstrations of the different skills and attitudes that each of our countries bring, and how the European Union is at its best in allowing each of the member states to combine perspectives, values and skills for a shared common good. The Erasmus programme is just one tangible expression of the benefits that the European Union offers to our people. At a time of great threats to multilateral cooperation, we must not ignore the importance that attaches to the European project. We must not take it for granted, for our shared European Union has brought enormous benefits for both of our peoples, especially in terms of its impact on the democratic, environmental and social standards, living conditions and expectations, vision of our peoples. The threats posed by Brexit, which we share, and the challenges to the core values of our union, which are posed from within and without, by a narrow and exploitative form of populism, which has exploited a gap that has been allowed to grow too deeply between our European Union and the European street. And this often is achieved by an invocation of old hatreds and divisions embedded in a narrow and critical manner. And it has drawn a heavy price in terms of distrust and confusion from the peoples of Europe. And we must ensure by our joint efforts that intolerance and illiberalism are not allowed once again to take root in our continent. It is in the Netherlands, too, that we see a consistent thread of striving for the better regulation of interactions between states through law. From Hugo Grotius, the father of international law, indeed one of the major sources of the contemporary human rights discourse, and distinguished alumnus again of Leiden, on to the Hague Convention in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. And this continues right into the present day, whereby Den Haag is rightly known as the international city of peace and justice. It is the seat of the International Court of Justice, the International Criminal Court, and the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. And in the fight against impunity and the fight to rid the world of the scourge of chemical weapons, the Netherlands will find in Ireland a strong partner. And our cooperation on the multilateral stage is not limited to Den Haag or Brussels. We work closely together in the United Nations and in Geneva and New York, where our representatives collaborate on most critical issues of our time: the protection of human rights, the promotion of sustainable development, the promotion of peace and security. And indeed, it is our hope that we will have the opportunity to build on the recent 2018 solid performance of the Netherlands on the United Nations Security Council if we are elected next year. And we greatly appreciate, and I say thank you for the political, technical and moral support that the Netherlands has offered us in our campaign for membership. The Dutch are famous for being direct, and we are confident that this trait will be brought by the Netherlands to the Human Rights Council, because challenges to and breaches of human rights indeed must be challenged in a direct manner. As Your Majesties visit Trinity College tomorrow, there you will see also a statue of Oliver Goldsmith, yet another Irish alumnus of Leiden University, though records of his attendance have been lost to history, a matter for speculation. There you will also have the opportunity to see the Fagel collection and to hear of the work being done between Trinity College and the Royal Library to make this wonderful resource available to a much wider audience. And then linkages in the arts between our two countries have been deep and varied, from Nathaniel Hone the elder, the son of Dutch immigrant, to his Irish ancestor, Evie Hone, one of our most cherished artists, whose captivating use of the medium of stained glass has suggested to so many Irish artists and Irish citizens how they might look at light. And then in our present generation, if they have a special feeling and respect for the world of nature, it owes so much to the creativity and passion for nature of another Dutch artist, Gerrit van Gelderen, who, through his nature film work, showed Ireland to the Irish in a new light. His partnership with the late Eamon de Buitléar on the series Am Withwen Spare, Out Under the Sky, in the earliest days of broadcasting and radio television, showed Irish people the wonders of our own country. And later on, his own series To the Waters and the Wild helped to inspire a generation with respect for our own natural heritage, a respect which is so valuable to us today. Another Dutchman who's been a wonderful friend to Ireland is Professor Matthijs Schouten, who I am so very pleased he has been in a position with us here tonight. A younger Matthijs, student of wetlands ecology, came to Ireland in the 1970s to study Ireland's raised bogs, and his observations of the ongoing damage being caused to our bogs at that time left him profoundly worried that Ireland would follow the Dutch experience, which had led to the almost complete destruction of its peatlands. In 1978, a determined Professor Schouten was instrumental in saving Mongan Bog in Westmeath, Cúnda Irví, a bog that was earmarked for peat harvesting. Instead, with the cooperation of Bord na Móna, a state agency, and An Taisce Conservation Organisation, the bog was saved. And Professor Schouten did not stop there. Soon after, the Dutch Foundation for the Conservation of Irish Bogs was formed, which gathered funds and garnered support to acquire a number of our threatened Irish bogs for conservation purposes. In 1987, as a Member of Parliament, I was privileged to have been invited by Dr. Schouten to go to Barron to be present when Prince Bernhard officially handed to an Irish government minister the deeds of 3 Irish bogs that had been saved through Professor Schotten's work and the work of his colleagues in the Netherlands and in Ireland. So we owe him a very great debt. Turning to the sea, which has served as the highway which has connected us since the earliest of times, it also, of course, poses a threat, not just to those who make their living from it, but for those living in coastal communities with the threat of rising sea levels and global warming. And just as the people of the Netherlands are famous for coming together to build defences against the sea, the global community must also come together now and adopt, if you like, that polder mentality to face that common threat together. And another area where our countries have much to learn from and share with each other is the making of our agriculture ever more sustainable. And I hope that Your Majesties will find the visit to our National Botanic Gardens tomorrow stimulating. Making our agriculture ever more sustainable is good for our own communities, but it is a way in which we contribute to help ridding the world also of the scourge of hunger. Though due to very different causes and separated by almost a century, Both of our countries in our memory have experienced the horrors of famine, and this has driven both of us to prioritize nutrition in our development cooperation policies. Finally, the Netherlands is the world leader in the development of the fair trade movement. This independent certification enabled customers and distributors alike to track the origin of the goods, to confirm that the products being sold were genuinely benefiting the producers, allowing goods from peripheral developing economies to be sold into mainstream markets. But most importantly, producers being offered a fair price for their crop, often significantly above the prevailing market price, so that disadvantaged producers and thus were encouraged to adhere to various social and environmental standards. This initiative reached a large consumer segment while raising awareness also among the citizens about ethical trading, a tendency that could extend. Fair trade commands a significant market share across several product lines in Ireland today. This socially grounded economic model based on the principles of equity and ethics is sadly all too lacking in modern trade and globalized supply chains with their narrow focus on profit maximization, often to the detriment of labour rights and working conditions and ecological responsibility. Whereas relations between our countries, as I have been describing them, stretch back over many centuries, formal diplomatic relations were not established until 1949. And it is a matter of great pride to be able to say that the first ever woman appointed as head of an Irish diplomatic mission, Josephine MacNeill, was appointed as minister to the Netherlands in 1950. Now, almost 70 years later, more than 10,000 Irish people call the Netherlands home, with nearly 1,000 of those being students. Serving as ambassadors for our country, they have brought their passion for our culture, music, and traditional sports with them, and shared it with people of many other nationalities to whom the Netherlands has offered the concept of home. It may interest you to know that the Netherlands is home to one of the oldest Gaelic athletic association clubs in Europe, Den Haag, which was founded in 1984, and also one of the youngest, Groningen, which was founded in 2018. Celebrating then all that we have been sharing and will share in friendship and ever closer relations assisted by this visit, may I now invite all of our distinguished guests to stand and join me in a toast to the good health of their Majesties, King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, to the happiness and prosperity of the people of the Netherlands, to the continuing friendship and affection between our peoples. Slán Siúa, Proust, Garib Míle Maithí.
President, Taoiseach, distinguished guests, His Majesty King Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands.
Mr. President, Mrs. Higgins, thank you for your warm and eloquent words of welcome. It means a great deal to my wife and me to be visiting your country in this particular year. We are honored to be here in Dublin as you celebrate the centenary of the Dáil Éireann. The road to a free Ireland was long and entailed great sacrifices. We have enormous respect for the men and women who created and built an independent Ireland. Our visit is also a token for our esteem for the millions of people who have made this country what it is today. A green beacon of freedom, vitality, and friendship in Europe. We're delighted to have had you as a European partner for more than 46 years, and we treasure our close relationship. there's even more reason for us to look to each other now that our common neighbour has decided to leave the European Union. The UK's decision is something that Ireland and the Netherlands both regret and respect. It also compels us to work together to safeguard the things we value most dearly. We're familiar with Ireland's history. Like you, we were overjoyed and full of hope when, in 1998, the Good Friday Agreement was concluded. It was a historic achievement by everyone concerned. Since then, a new generation has been able to grow up without constant threat of violence. Together, we, Ireland, the UK, and the European Union are the guardians of the Good Friday Agreement. The spectres of the past cannot be allowed to return. No one wants to revisit the era of the Troubles. No one wants to see fences on the border. The Netherlands is well aware of the far-reaching implications of Brexit for Ireland and everyone on this island. Everyone needs certainty, whether they are ordinary citizens, farmers, or business people. Please be assured that the Kingdom of the Netherlands stands side by side with Ireland. We will continue working with you and all our partners in Europe on solutions that safeguard the interests of both Ireland and Europe. The hero setting out will meet an ally at a crucial moment. Mr. President, those words were written by you in your poem, When Will My Time Come? I can assure you that the Netherlands is only too happy to be Ireland's ally. I realize, of course, that this wasn't always the case. 300 years ago, we were anything but allies. In fact, we have a member of my family to thank for that. On Friday, we will visit the fort in Cork Harbour, which was a key link in Ireland's defences back in those days. There we'll also meet volunteers from the local initiative Rescue Camden. This time I can promise we will come in peace. And let us hope that the House of Orange meets less resistance on this occasion. Mr. President, speaking of colours, Irish green enjoys global recognition. Thanks to the Irish diaspora, millions of people around the world feel a close bond with your country, and are not shy about expressing it either. Your own family's history, like that of most Irish people, is a story in which immigration plays a key role. Every Irish family knows from experience the value of good relations between countries. So Ireland has a natural inclination towards cross-border cooperation. It's an active member of the European Union and the United Nations. It's a member of peace missions and a dedicated development partner. And you, Mr. President, are a persuasive advocate for a society that offers every person, young and old, protection and opportunities in the digital age in which we live. This, too, is a goal that unites us. As a true lover of nature, you also point to the need to care for our environment and to take action on climate change. During our visits, we'll be spotlighting Dutch-Irish initiatives in areas like sustainable agriculture and cleaner, more efficient transport. And yet, despite everything our countries have in common, there are contrasts between us too. The Dutch national character, in all its diversity, is perhaps best reflected in our painting, in the colours and compositions of Rembrandt, Vermeer and Mondrian. The soul of the Irish, on the other hand, has another form of expression, poetry. Throughout the centuries, the triumphs and tragedies of the Emerald Isle have been made sublime by the power of language. Words that can empower, words that can heal, words that might unite, as you once described it. One of Ireland's greatest poets, William Butler Yeats, understood like no other what makes this country so special. Your Mother Eyre is always young, he wrote. Hear, hear. This country, despite challenges and setbacks, has always succeeded in reinventing itself. No one can break the Irish spirit. And we are proud of the friendship that has grown between our peoples, a friendship that today is stronger than ever. And may I now ask you to join me in raising your glasses to your good health, Mr. President and Mrs. Higgins, to the friendship between Ireland and the Netherlands. Near Gardes.
Majesty Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. After which time you're invited to join the President and Sabina Higgins in the drawing room for after dinner drinks. Thank you.